Hello, welcome back to World History. This is Mr. McCall. I wanted to give you a quick overview of the lesson that we'll be studying. We're still under the unit of patterns of population growth, which we see right over here. We just finished studying early hominids. After this lesson, we're going to be looking at the rise of Sumerian city-states, the first cities and states, the rise of ancient Sumer, first civilizations, and then we'll be looking at the geography and early settlement of India and how that was really an ideal place to start cities and civilizations. But today, let's focus on hunters and gatherers and how humans went from hunters and gatherers to farming. All right, so we have over here hunters and gatherers to farming. We are actually going to pull this out. All right, so let's take a look. Hunters and gatherers to farming. I'll zoom out just a little bit. The first thing, most important, we needed to think about the essential question. The essential question for this chapter is, how did the development of agriculture change daily life in the Neolithic age? Now, when we talk of agriculture, we're talking about the domestication of plants and animals. So making plants something that we controlled and harvested when we wanted rather than walking around trying to find some. Same with animals. Making them something that we can use and create a stable food supply. All right, so I'm going to move this, put this right here. Right here. Cool. All right, so the next thing we need to know is the key vocabulary. Now, there is a lot of key vocabulary. I'm not going to go over it, all of it right now, but I am going to briefly introduce them. So the key vocabulary, we have the Paleolithic age. Basically, that means the Old Stone Age. You're going to need to know it. Neolithic age, it's the New Stone Age. How was that different? What changed? Fertile Crescent, very important area. Çatalhöyük, very important Neolithic settlement. Domesticate, agriculture, nomad, trade, resources, several key vocabulary terms, and you're going to get more practice with this, with the vocabulary trait. Very important for you to answer the essential question. You've got to know these key vocabulary terms. All right, so what's the first lesson going to be? The first lesson is going to be Neolithic settlements. Where were they and why were they there? So we're going to learn about a couple different ones. We're going to learn about Çatalhöyük, and we're also going to learn about Jericho. We're going to talk about where they were and why they built them there. Because they don't just come up out of nowhere. There's a reason why they appear where they appear. Next up, next thing we're going to study is hunters and gatherers versus farmers. We're going to look at the lives of these two groups, and we're going to consider how they were different. Hunters and gatherers versus farmers. And the last lesson that we will have for hunters and gatherers to farming is, how does the domestication of plants and animals change the world? So what things happened after humans started to domesticate plants and animals? How does that change the world? Several things. The world would be drastically different without the domestication of plants and animals. And if you need an example, you can look at some societies that are still hunters and gatherers. Very much different than the civilizations that went into farming. That is it. This is what we will be studying for the next couple weeks. All right. Take care.